Welcome back to another installment, another episode of Projects and Podcasts. Hopefully, it'll be a weekly show. If not weekly, hopefully we'll be able to make it bi-weekly. Depends on how many projects I can get done. Right now, I'm doing some light work sewing projects, so it's a lot easier to get out projects a little bit quicker. But the more intricate projects, whether they be carpentry or metal, those will take a little bit longer and a little bit longer to edit and all that kind of stuff. So this week on Projects and Podcasts, Ep.3, we are doing this trusty little sling bag. Throw your phone in the front here. It's like that there. In the back there, a little pouch on the back. A little pouch on the back. Right in here, we have on the front part of the sling, we also have a zipper where we can put whatever we have. I don't have much out here to put in there, but sewing. My cutter, put that in there. Be your keys. This has been a popular style bag that I started to make, that I sold quite a few different styles of. Not just the Africa style, but Africa sports. Other kente cloth print as well. Lakers, 49ers. I've had a request for the Eagles. I don't know. Should I make it or not? I'm not sure. It's for a friend of mine, and he loves the Eagles. And we're not talking sports today, but the Eagles are undefeated as of right now. They won again on Monday Night Football. So they're looking pretty unstoppable right now. I'm not going to give them the crown yet, but they're looking pretty good. Back to the sling bag. So the sling is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This one is a little bit different because if you can see here, we have two zippers, one zipper for the back pocket there, and then one zipper here for the front pocket. All the other sling bags I didn't make with this front pocket. This was mine. And a little backstory on this one. When I got good at making these, I made myself one and I loved it. And somehow I lost it. I don't know where it is. It's probably in this house somewhere, or in a car somewhere, but as of right now, it's lost. So this same friend of mine that wants this Eagles bag, you know who you are. I made him one before I even knew I lost mine. I probably hadn't even lost mine yet, but I made him one. The same exact style as the previous one. And I come talking to him and said, did he see the one that I made, or did he see the one that I initially had? He like, dog, I ain't seen it. You know what I mean? Like, but I got mine. I said, no, I know you got yours, but what about the other one? You remember the other one I made? He said, yeah, but I got mine. So that turned into a thing, a running joke. He would call me just out the blue on nothing. Be like, dog, you found your bag yet? No, I ain't found it yet. Meanwhile, he got his on across his body like this, carrying his daughter. And hey, well, I got mine though. You like mine? Cause I got one. And I'm like, man, this went on for weeks. So eventually I got fed up and I was like, I'll just make another one. So I decided to make mine a little bit more intricate, a little bit more fly than his, and put the zipper in the front. So that's why the zipper is there. Just opens up into a different pouch in the front where you can, right here, you put your phone. So you always have a spot for your phone. But you can also throw other essentials that you want to access, quickly. Gum, keys, things like that. Even your wallet in the front. And then in the back, on your back, you could have things that you might access a little bit less. It's the same print on the inside of the bag on both sides as it is on the outside. See that there. And yeah, you could throw other things. I mean, whatever you're carrying, it's a good bag to have for day-to-day purposes. That specific friend, he uses his every day. Price, he uses his every day, and I wasn't making them for daily use, but if it works for you, perfect. I don't use mine every day. I shouldn't say I don't use this one. I probably made a good 5 or 6 different styles. I don't know where my other ones are, but I've made 5 or 6 different styles of these bags. Some are African bags, like I said before. Some are sports style. And the other ones that I made, even for myself, I've let other people use. I have a couple of Polynesian bags that I made, or Polynesian style prints. They came out really good. A couple of those I sold as well. So, but today on Projects and Podcasts, we'll be talking about just the subject of this bag being Africa, the motherland. I have never been to Africa. I've actually never even been out of the United States. I've traveled all around the United States, but I've never been out. And I feel like that's a knock on me. Not that if you haven't been anywhere, that's a knock on you. But for me, that was something that I always really wanted to do, was travel. And I never really got the opportunity to travel. Went to school. I didn't start a family till late, but just never really, maybe I had the opportunity, but I didn't take whatever opportunities that I had. So in the coming years, I'll be doing so. Likely my first trip will be to Japan. I have a friend that lives there, a lifelong friend that lives in Japan. And it seems like an easy trip to take, just because once I get there, I don't have to do anything. I have a place to stay. I have a way to get around. I can go to the Big Island first, and he lives on Okinawa, so we can go from Tokyo to the island of Okinawa, and that would be hanging out with him on the mainland for 3 or 4 days, and hanging out with him in his home, Okinawa, for 3 or 4 days. So that would be cool. That will likely be my first trip. But if that's my first trip, Africa will be my second. So I was just using this opportunity using this project as an opportunity to talk about Africa and wanting to go there, and things I might want to see, or things that maybe you guys have seen that you can, direct me to. Of course, Giza, the Sphinx, all of the, almost, 8th, 9th, 10th wonders of the world that are in Africa. I mean, it already is a wonder of the world, but there's so many different little pieces of Africa that just, if you are familiar with the culture, or not even just the culture of Africa, but like specifically Egypt and mummification and the pyramids, and which are the pyramids are everywhere throughout the world, but the way that they're built in Africa, the precise nature in which they're built, not even being able to recreate the style in which they're built today. So many different things to visit in Africa. And I say in Africa because I was listening to somebody the other day, and he mentioned he just wants to be in a place, talk to people who know that Africa is not a country. And I never thought about Africa not being a country. We know that it isn't, but when people talk about Africa as a whole, it's as if they're talking about a country and not a continent. So I would love to go to Africa and experience different places. I mean, Africa is not just where we came from slave trade wise. I mean, it's so rich. It's rich in minerals. It's rich in their people. it's it's just a rich place, and so I would love to just experience the place. I'm not really a sightseer. Whenever I travel, at least locally, and that's all I've been, New York, Florida, just all around the country, United States. I don't really sightsee. I'm not a sightseer. But in Africa, I can't imagine going and not just being in awe of the sights. So um, there's the easy places that you want to, that you can point out, like Kemet, or I mean even the Nile. The Nile would be an amazing thing to see. Definitely want to go on a safari. um, they have those 2 and 3 day safaris. I would love to go on a safari. My son's a big animal buff. I love animals as well. That would be amazing. So do you guys have any places that you think that would be interesting to visit, that you know the regular tourist doesn't go see? Um, there's always those main places. Of course, everywhere in Egypt, right? Um, but even other museums, and I just want to see and meet the people. Um, they say that we all have a twin. In the world we have twins. So I've seen a couple of guys that look very similar to me, and a couple of guys that I know, just here in the States. But um, traveling abroad and going to Africa, I could imagine that I might see a brother or two, like just somebody who looks and feels just like me. And so that would be dope to see. It's always incredible to be looking in somebody's eyes that when you looking in the mirror, you almost seeing them as well. It's kind of like having a twin, like actual twin. Um, so Africa is on the hopefully will be on the table within the next 2-3 years at the most. It's expensive to go. Everything that we've looked at, you know, for an entire trip, we're probably not looking at any less than 15 to 20,000 for some of the things that we're looking to do. And that'll be doable, but that'll be like, the main trip for 3 or 4 years. Save up and go somewhere else in the next 3 or 4 years. So let's see what places, what are the most interesting places that you guys have been, or is there somewhere where somewhere popular that you wouldn't suggest that I go? You know, I really want to see as much as I can. I think one of the biggest problems with traveling to Africa will probably be just its size. It's so vast, and it takes so long to get to different parts. And I'm thinking, if I make it that far, to the other side of the world, right? I'm trying to see as much as I possibly can, go as many places as I can, which would probably limit my experience in any one region, but it would make my overall experience a little bit more vast. I would have a little bit more that I've actually put my eyes on. And I'm not sure if it's better to go to, like, say you just go to Kenya and you get a feel of the Kenyan people and you get a feel of the culture and the food, just life in Kenya specifically, right? So you go there and you spend 5 days. It would be an amazing trip. It would be. I can't imagine it not being an amazing trip. But if you just go to Kenya and you've traveled from Long Beach, California, United States, when's the next time you're going to be able to make it that far? For myself, I'm not able to travel that often. So I would really want to go from up to Egypt down to maybe the Congo. I probably wouldn't go as far as South Africa. like even over to Ethiopia. But if you know anything about the size of Africa, you've seen those maps when they fit the United States and other countries inside the continent of Africa. It's it's a big place. You can't. This is the way I think about it. You can't come to Texas in the United States and say that you know the culture of the people in the United States, essentially. So I don't want to just go to one place in Africa and think that I understand or have a feel or have seen the people since I've just been to one place. That I don't think that would make much sense. So, I mean, of course, maybe my trip need to be longer than 5 or 7 days. It might need to be 3 weeks. A month, just to be able to get around to multiple places and, like I said, see the people, hear the people, feel the people. Like, to me, there's nothing like that in travel or experience, because we're all the collection of our experiences. So and thoughts about those experiences. So me and the rest of my family, my hope is that we're able to go and experience multiple parts of Africa and multiple people in Africa, multiple peoples of Africa, and see what they're about, and see what it's been like a renaissance of African Americans, blacks, returning back home. And I say home because so many other people that are a part of, other countries as well. United States is not unique in this way, but they're not home. They're not where they actually come from. And the difference with black people in America, of course, is we were stripped away from our home, and we were stripped away from anything that we knew to be ourselves. And now we're trying to have some type of reclamation project where we reclaim some of the identity that we lost in being stolen and kidnapped and enslaved. So hopefully, as more and more of us go back home and experience essentially where we came from. I don't specifically know what tribes in Africa my people are from. We've done a family tree up until, I think, like mid 1800s. I think our family tree goes back to maybe early 1800s, where we know my father, just to give you a little background, I'm 40. My father's 82, and are going to be 82 in December. And his father was born in 1902, 1906, something like that. It's 2022. That's 120 something years, almost 120 years. So that takes us back to about 1900, and we know maybe 2 or 3 generations before that, but not all of where they came from. We know that some of them lived in Mississippi, and we know that some of my ancestors on my mother's side, my mother is from Florida, so a lot of her ancestors are from there. But it's I think it's important to just get a feel of like who you are, to touch some of what your identity was and what it internally still is, but externally what we haven't been able to really put our hands on. So, like 23andMe has been big, any type of DNA test to try to figure out exactly where you're from and where your people are from. I haven't done that yet. I'm not sure I will, but I might though. And
because, you know, you could go all the way to Africa and be certain, not even certain, have a feeling of where you want to go, and you might be thousands of miles away from where your actual ancestors originated. And not that that's any problem, or those people are still not your people. Of course they are. But, you know, you could pinpoint where you're from. It's just anybody would have that feeling of going back and seeing and feeling what you come from, what you really come from. So hopefully in time we'll be able to do that. And I would love whatever feedback you guys have. If you've been to Africa already, if you have stories about your experiences, just whatever feedback you have about the entire continent of Africa, whether you just went to one region, whether you stayed a month or two, or maybe if you just passed through. I would love to hear about some of your experiences and what real information you could give me about what I should do, where I should go, what feelings you had about where you were. If you did any 23andMe or DNA tests or 23andMe or anything like that to figure out where your people were from, and specifically, and then go there and visit and really get a feel for who and what you are. Whether you went to Cape Town or Angola, whether you went to where the slave ships left from, whether you were in Sierra Leone or, you know, there's a lot of history there, and a lot of it's been documented in movies and books and things like that. But I would love to hear from you. So check me out on One-Off Builds. You'll see the little video in the corner of me making the bag. Like I said, all of these things with the projects and podcasts are really just an excuse to talk about some of the things that I'm interested in, or you know, things that I follow. And hopefully I'll find a way to incorporate other ways to do projects and podcasts rather than just other than just sewing projects. Hopefully I can do, like I said, carpentry projects that still apply to projects and podcasts, but it's not all sewing based. That's what I've been guilty of lately, is I've been sewing a lot because that's what I've had the opportunity to do with my family set up the way it is. And people think I'm a seamstress now. So I'm not a seamstress. I do enjoy sewing, I think, but I think it's just one outlet of, I like to create. And so that's one way that I found to create. And for now, that's the way I'll be doing some of the projects and podcasts, probably most of them. But hopefully I can do other things as well. If you have any things that you might want to see built, whether intricate or simple, leave it in the comments below. Most of you, with my channel being so small right now, most of you I know personally. So I've gotten a couple of text messages and a couple of calls about, you know, what I can do better, or what I'm doing well. Well, most people that suggest a project are suggesting something that I can make for them. Well, that's cool too. But if you have any suggestions, let me know. Instagram, Facebook, even on YouTube, right here in the comments. And maybe I'll be able to put some of the content in other places as well. The long format content, like the YouTube style content. So I appreciate your time. I hope to see you next week or on the next episode of Projects and Podcasts. Stay tuned.